Thanks for tuning in. Robert Cass with Local Real Estate Deals Media. I just wanted to take a couple of seconds to talk to you about credit. As simple as it sounds, it's part of our everyday life, but some people don't know when to discern good credit from bad credit. So just take a moment or two to give you my thoughts on it. You may or may not agree with me, that's okay, but here's my thought. There are only two types of credit out there. There's good credit and bad credit, okay? And if you're ever confused, if you need that rule of thumb when I'm in the field to figure out what's good and what's not, here's what's good. Good credit is anything that you buy that increases in value, okay? A house is a good investment using credit because it's a very large investment. You don't want to tie up that much capital. You borrow the money to do this, so you're borrowing, you're not using much of your money, and it increases in value most of the time, okay? So that's a very extreme case of good credit. So good credit is anything that increases in value. Bad credit, or credit you should stay away from as much as possible, is anything that you use credit for that depreciates in value. All right, let's think about this. What's the one thing most people buy right out of college? A car. Based on that definition, I'm telling you, and I'm encouraging you to really argue about this or find out for yourself. I'm telling you that buying a car on credit is a bad investment. All right, some of you have heard this, some of you know this. Unless you can get a 0% interest line, then that's good because you're not building any, you're not paying any interest. But if anything other than 0%, I'm telling people to stay away from. So here's the thing: you drive a car off the lot, you lose a couple of $1,000s right off the bat. All right, that's a pretty decent, easy to recognize case of bad credit. But you know what people do that kills me, and I've done it myself. Trust me, I learn from my own mistakes, which makes me a master. Okay, I failed enough times that I know that I made the mistakes. But here's the thing: you ever see anybody use their credit card for food? That $3 hamburger ends up costing them $25. Would you take $25 $1 bills out of your pocket and pay $25 for a $3 hamburger? No, it's absurd. That's what you're doing when you're using a credit card. Not a debit card, but an actual credit card to buy your food. The worst thing you can do is buy food and clothing with your credit card if you're buying credit, because now you're getting these things. You're never going to get your money back from these clothes. If you can't afford it with cash, don't buy it. It's bad credit. It's bad. It should strike fear in your heart. It should strike fear in your kids' hearts. Use good credit. Good credit always builds your credit score as long as you maintain your payments. So, you know, if you've ever been confused, talk to your kids. You know, say, hey, should I use my credit card on this, or does it make sense for us to pay cash? See if you can get these ideas into their heads, because when you do, you're building their financial awareness to where it's second nature to them. You know, it's not uncommon to have these conversations. Our parents didn't have these conversations with us because they grew up in a time before credit cards were around. So they were learning about credit cards as we were growing up. We can't do that. We can't afford to make the same mistakes, knowing that the predicament we're in financially as a country and individually as families. So take the time to discern between good credit, bad credit. See if you can determine which things are good in your life and which things are not with regards to credit. And like I said, if you buy something on credit and it increases in value, generally speaking, that's good credit. If you're buying something and immediately it loses value, like food loses 100% of its value as soon as it's down the tubes, that's bad news, guys. Don't do it. Resist the temptation. Use credit in the right way. Thanks again for your time. Keep talking to your kids, guys. This is good stuff.